Hello again. Michelle is back with self-education, which is actually, this is part 4. I recognize I had some other videos on self-education back in 2023, and I can't wait to listen to those again to see how things have changed and see if I'm still in alignment, and consistent. And today is January 5th, 2026. Wow. Just think about that. So I want to return again and talk about self-education and how if you want genuine, true freedom, then self-education will do that for you. You don't have to go to a university. You don't have to go to a college. But once you deconstruct and start reconstructing your life, you'll be able to make those decisions. Don't listen to what I'm telling you. It'll be a natural process because you can go into certain places and learn just as much as what you're being taught. And that's the whole idea anyway about a teacher. I told you, they're guides. As teachers, they're supposed to guide you and point you. They're not a cult. Well, and the majority are. I left the last video by when I said this, and I really need to stress this, okay? There are a lot of auditories out there who are extremely highly skilled in manipulation and deception. They know how to put on a show for you and give you the illusion that they know what they're talking about. Okay, that has been going on in our environments for decades, possibly millennia, maybe even 2,000 years ago. Okay, where everybody points so much to that, what happened during the days of Moses and during the days of this and that and the other. There are just people that are just great performers. That's why Hollywood is, that's why Hollywood is the illusion that it is. I told you my mom had these fantasies about going to Hollywood because she wanted to see her favorite actors and actresses because she enjoyed watching them on television and how they were able to become these characters. Well, a lot of them did not come out of character. Some of them died in character, performing, pretending these false personas. Like I said, some will play Superman on television or in the movies, and then they'll walk around thinking they're Superman. That's that delusion. And that's why a lot of them, because of the signs of the times, that is being exposed. That has nothing necessarily to do with, certain type of interference per se. There's an interference. It's called criminal negative energy. But at the same time, because of the signs of the times, the cosmos is continually evolving, expanding, which means it's just like you being in a cave, okay? And drips of water have been dripping on the side of the cave for decades and decades. And all of a sudden that dripping of water causes erosion, and then all of a sudden something starts to open up. Okay, that's your consciousness. In other words, your consciousness, whether you are conscious of it or unconscious of it, aware of it or not aware of it, it opens up. Just like the universe. We're just like the universe. Okay, go out in nature. We're just like nature. Okay, and so that's why it's so annoying and time consuming dealing with people who believe that they are above that. They're above their biology. They decide, okay, who they are biologically instead of the other way around. It's just like I go out there and I look at a tree, but the tree says, no, I'm not a tree. I'm a flower. Possibly. Okay, or a giraffe. I'm not a giraffe. I'm a tiger. You know what I mean? That kind of it's an illogical thoughts. It has nothing to do with you physically per se, but a lot of people are interfering with that, physically interfering with themselves because they don't like parts of their body. So they figure, okay, let me just chop this off, chop that off. Let me add this, let me add that. So we're in this spin, because it's a spin of encasement of criminal negative energy, massive, massive, massive confusion. And as a person deconstructing and reconstructing, you're going to have to see how you can creatively get yourself out of that spin so that you can see what's opening up for you instead of believing it's not there. People that are in a, that's a metaphor. You're in a cave, it's dark, but there's on the side of the cave, there's drips of water or energy. Let's say drips of energy. And eventually it erodes that and it causes the cave to open up. Whoa, I can remember having a dream like that once. When I was a young girl, I had a dream that I was in somewhere dark. It was a dark place. And I'm looking around, and all of a sudden I noticed something that just started to open up. I saw light coming in, and I got myself out of that dream, honey. Because it was overwhelming for me as a young girl. What was that? It was like something was just opening up. And I saw brightness and colors. I said, nope. And so that's what you're going to do when you deconstruct and you begin to reconstruct. You're going to say, nope, I'm not dealing with that. And so that's why it's so important to be kind and gentle. Do not put too much pressure on yourself. Your consciousness can handle it, by the way. But a lot of us have not relied on our consciousness. We relied on beliefs, the supernatural. God, and this is probably one of the worst, one of the most annoying statements someone can make, and I keep bringing it up. I'm highly favored. I'm chosen. God got me. God got me. You know what I mean? And when someone says that, he has them, but not you. You're not a part of that. When somebody says they're chosen, come on. I did everything in my power in 2025 to give people the benefit of the doubt, to make sure I understood what they were actually talking about, and that's the beauty of self-education. Sometimes you have to go into the lion's den and to know what are they feasting on. And that's what teachers do anyway. They go out and experience life in the company of human beings and how they structure their lives and how they're living their lives. They go into that environment to understand it. So if you look at it as self-education, okay, what does it mean to be a Buddha? What does it mean to be a Christian? What does it mean to be focused on any other dogma, whether it's Catholics, Islam, and all the others out there? What does it mean to be an atheist? Atheist, you really need to be balanced when you call yourself an atheist, because that's the same thing as calling yourself a Christian. Okay, do not get offended by that. Agnostic, same thing. Okay, those are beliefs. How can you bring those into actual, genuine, bona fide knowledge? And you can. And that is your work. That is your accountability and responsibility. I can guide you there, but you have to take the walk. You have to take the walk. You have to walk the talk. But a lot of that is not being done. A lot of people out here wanting to, they want you to follow them. They want you to listen to them, but they don't want you to listen to anybody else. And something was posted the other day, which I knew this was going on for decades too. These fraudulent pseudo teachers, pseudo scientists, they listen to other people and see what other people are talking about, so that they can steal it and claim it belongs to them. Not that they're learning anything from these people that they're stealing from. you know. And celebrities do that all the time. I don't care what they say, okay? You know, they steal people, they steal ideas all day long from creators. That's why they have their cults online, following people around, wanting to know what people are talking about, so that they can come out and talk about it as if they created it. You know, all of the celebrities do that. Now, tell me one that doesn't. I would love to know who they are. Okay, and these and when I say celebrities, I'm talking about these former talk show hosts, these former this or that and the other, who think that they are the pinnacle of success, and everybody has to listen to them. And I know this one particular one. I don't know when this person will admit it. Probably never, because they're advanced age now. That they lied about being abused. They lied. They fabricated that. But they got themselves so caught up in it. Who's gonna, and they were bringing in millions upon millions, of dollars and people. Who's gonna turn that down? Who's gonna turn that down? So, reconstruction can be a fun process. Okay, you're rediscovering who the hell you are, what you are, and why you are. You are relearning. You're not unlearning anything. You're relearning what you were taught and say, hey, how does that benefit me now? Why am I holding on to this? Why am I holding on to these beliefs? And I told you, it has a lot to do with how we were indoctrinated. All of us were indoctrinated. All of us, our parents, our grandparents, our great-parents, all of us, from the inception, actually. 2,000 years ago, especially 1,000 years ago, of course, and blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on. So I'm going to stop here, because I don't want to make these too long, because I know that, I know our lives are busy. That's unfortunate. And so it's hard for people to read books now. That's unfortunate, but you have to make the time. Instead of doing this or that and the other, that's a part of reconstruction. You have to take accountability and responsibility for your own self-education. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when I return.